I'm a doc. When you're a doctor, you're supposed to take care of your patient. When someone is pregnant, there are two patients. Both must be considered with absolute care and concern. And scientifically and morally, there's no difference in the value of a child whether she is in her mother's arms or she is in her mother's womb. And the science is clear. Life begins at conception, and abortion ends that life. Now, we can't dehumanize the conversation, and we shouldn't normalize the ending of that life, not normalizing a procedure whose intent is to end a life. I want to highlight the March for Life next week in Washington, around the country. For decades, every January, thousands of Americans, very young and old, begin the new year by joining together to march and peacefully call attention to the sanctity and inherent value of every single life. And so for those of you who will march in the weeks ahead, thank you. We're here to represent your passion and your action to protect women and their unborn child. We'll hear testimony today about the dangers of Mifepristone, the chemical abortion drug. Now, these drugs are not safe run-of-the-mill drugs. They're certainly not safe for the unborn child, but there can also be potential complications for the mother. And so here are the facts. One study showed that 9 in 10 women who take a chemical abortion drug describe their pain as moderate to severe, and half of women say the experience was worse than expected. Another study found that 1 in 10 women taking Mifepristone experienced serious adverse events, including hemorrhaging, bleeding, sepsis, overwhelming infection, or just kind of infection but less overwhelming. These are not about statistics. It's about real women with real stories. We need to humanize this. A woman named Salome described feeling like her insides were being, quote, torn and sliced apart, and, quote, seeing blood all over my legs. Like many, Salome regretted her abortion, saying, quote, I saw the most heartbreaking thing that I've seen in my entire life. I saw my child, and it was at that moment that it sunk in properly that I really have been pregnant. I've been carrying the life that I created inside of me until that very moment. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It was the most beautiful thing that I'd ever created, and I destroyed it. Another woman named Shanice described the cramps as unbearable, saying that it, quote, felt like somebody stabbing me in my stomach. Shanice ended up going into sepsis because the abortion drugs left some of the unborn child's remains inside her. After 2 months hospitalization and a partial hysterectomy, she had to relearn to walk and perform normal everyday activities. So how do we get here? To the point where abortion pills can be ordered online, mailed, taken with no medical supervision, and we have no safeguards against coercion. It started when the Obama administration's FDA, pursuing an agenda, removed requirements to report non-fatal adverse events, effectively no longer monitoring the drug safety. Now, who could be opposed to making sure that adverse events are reported to the FDA? We make so much out of somebody getting a vaccine and having a sore arm that lasts for a day where they got the shot, but we're not reporting when someone has sepsis? Then the Biden administration removed the in-person dispensing requirement, which protected women having abortions from serious medical complications. It's only through a proper medical exam that a doctor can determine the baby's gestational age, ensure the woman does not have an ectopic pregnancy, and be sure the abortion will not jeopardize future fertility. Now, I'm a doc. The first rule is do no harm. The way things are working here today, it has a lot of potential to do a lot of harm. The in-person requirement I feel passionate about. Again, prescribing a drug with potential complications with no in-person requirement. It means that a medical professional who's trained to spot abuse, to protect a woman from being coerced, can actually interview the patient and find out if she really willingly wishes to take this. And now, under the current situation, and we'll hear these stories today, someone can order the pill and coerce the pregnant woman into taking them. It's straight to their mailbox, no questions asked, and then they coerce the woman to take it. That is wrong. We should all be concerned about that, whether you're pro-life or pro-choice. Think of the women, the girls in abusive relationships, being trafficked, whose voices being silent. And it just struck me. I was in a Southwest airline bathroom. I'm a gastroenterologist. Sometimes I go there in my thoughts. And as I looked at the sign on the door of the bathroom, it said, if you're being trafficked, tell the flight attendant or call this number. Now, tip of the hat to Southwest, and maybe the other airlines. I've just never noticed the sign before. They know that someone may be traveling to some place like a Super Bowl to get trafficked. And yet we make these appropriate efforts to protect the young person in this situation. But we don't require the inpatient interview in which a physician can ask the young person, wait a second, do you really want this or not? And if you don't, tell me about it. Wait, you're being trafficked? We're calling the police. Why do we have it on the inside of a bathroom on an airplane, but not as a requirement for something which is mailed? As chairman of the Help Committee, I urge Secretary Kennedy and Commissioner McCarry to complete the safety review of Mifepristone that they both promised us during their confirmation hearings. Republican members of this committee and many other senators expect an answer. At an absolute minimum, the previous in-person safeguards should be restored, and it should be done immediately. By the way, it's not just Republicans who say this. A recent poll that 71% of Americans, including 67% of those who identify as pro-choice, support requiring a visit for the chemical abortion drug to be prescribed. Louisiana Attorney General Liz Murrill will share some real-life stories of women and girls coerced or drugged with the abortion pill. She's holding those violating our state's strong pro-life laws accountable and working to protect these women. Dr. Monique Wubenhorst will provide medical expertise and further insight into the dangers that abortion pills pose to these women. And she'll dispel the false narrative that treatment for miscarriage, stillbirth, and ectopic pregnancy is the same as an abortion. It's an honor to convene the Help Committee for our first hearing of the year to discuss such an important topic. Women, families, and unborn children deserve nothing less